welcome everybody. Welcome to our session 2 with the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Khanmigo tonight, Khanmigo and Khan Academy for that matter. I know most of you here, but my name is Peter Guyon, Instructional Coach Coordinator for the City of Cranston. Kathy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi there. I'm Kathy Torregrossa. I'm also from Cranston. I am a teacher fully released out of the classroom like Pete is, and my role is to be the coordinator of everything that has to do with teacher support systems, so professional learning, teacher evaluation, mentor programs, coaching, all kinds of stuff. And Pete and I have been on this AI journey since day one.
Yeah, so we got a great tool to share with you. Jessica, I just saw your note, no worries at all. I just shared the presentation for this evening's session in the chat. I will pin that there, which I think if anyone comes in after I posted it should still be there, but we'll make sure they have it. Tonight we're going to talk about Khanmigo, and as Kathy mentioned, we've been kind of together on board and with assistance of a lot of the teachers, the instructional coaches, a few that are with us this evening, trying to stay on top of this kind of AI journey, which is, as you can imagine, changing ever so quickly, almost difficult to stay on top of. But regardless of the situation, our goal tonight is to go over Khanmigo with you, which is a completely free website that offers you a variety of tools that Kathy and I are going to break down and go over probably a good bunch of them, not all of them, show you how easy it is to use them, and then give you time to try some of them as well and ask questions if needed. So let me get started first. I'll share my screen first, Kathy, if you're okay with that. Awesome. So you should everyone should have access to this slide deck. Once again, our agenda, very simply, is to go over all the tools. Even though it is a Khan Academy resource, and Microsoft is kind of a financial backer of Khanmigo, excuse me, that there are some ways to use some of the output from Khanmigo within Google Docs and even Google Slides and even Google Forms. So we'll show you that as well. As I mentioned, we'll give you plenty of time to play and to ask some questions as well. Just to kind of give you some basics on what Khanmigo is, it's a learning assistant designed to enhance your educational experience. If anyone in our session this evening is familiar with Magic School, it's very similar to Magic School with some of the tools. Might be a little easier personally than Magic School. I find Magic School to be kind of almost too overwhelming with the number of tools, but it's similar to that, and it basically allows you to use AI for certain tasks. And like I said, we'll go over each of those different tools. It is part of the Khan Academy platform, which allows you to use a lot of the resources that are already built into Khan Academy. So if you have used Khan Academy in the past, or even if you're not familiar with it, you'll see a list of all the resources that are free to you and to your students right in Khan Academy. And then when you join Khanmigo, it does it is familiar with a lot of the educational standards within our state. So when you get the result from something, you'll notice that there's kind of ties into what our educational standards are. A lot of things you can do with it: lesson plans, exit tickets, types of assessments, prompts, much more. One thing I want to spend time on, which is relatively brand new, is the writing coach. So if we have any English teachers out there, especially at the middle and high school level, or anybody that teaches writing to their students, you'll be hopefully pleasantly surprised with what writing coach can do for you and for your students. We'll spend some time on that. Couple tools specifically around making what you're teaching to your students relevant. You know, you might get that question frequently of, hey, why do we need to learn this? Or when will we ever use this? There are a couple of tools that may help you out with some of the instructional material that you're sharing with your students on why they need to learn that. Simply enough, Khanmigo coaches you to create prompts to get what you're looking for. What that basically means is it guides you through asking some certain questions to get the result that you're looking for, rather than if you went directly into ChatGPT or Gemini, some of these large language models, and tried to prompt it. You get the same result, but Khanmigo makes it very easy for you by just asking you specific questions, and then shows you the result. And not only does it show you the result, it also gives you the option to change it, modify it, make it better, or eliminate it. It's fully customizable. And once again, we'll go through that. As I've already talked about, a lot of the tools and a lot of the output that you get from the tools can be exported to either Microsoft products, specifically Word or PowerPoint, or even slides, Google Docs, or even Google Forms. Actually, Kathy's going to jump on Khanmigo in 1 second. I'll let you share your screen in 1 second. You do have to sign up for an account. Once again, it is completely free. The link is in here. When I stop presenting, I'll also put the link in the chat as well. And you'll see a page. Kathy will show you a page of all the different tools that are available. They're broken up into 5 different categories: plan, create, differentiate, support, and learn, as you can see here. And I'm just playing with my annotation tool on my screen here for a second. We're going to go through a couple of our favorite tools within each of those groups, and then once again give you time to play with some of those tools as well. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'm going to stop presenting. I will put the link to Khanmigo if you don't have it. It is in the slides presentation, but I will do it for you in just a second. And Kathy, you can take it away.
I'm just looking for my Khanmigo tab. Hold on.
Sure, no worries.
I apparently have too many tabs open.
And if anyone has any difficulty signing up for that, just let us know. Just to go over, Kathy and I, when we do our sessions, it's very informal. We appreciate those who have their cameras off, cameras on, but for those who have your cameras off, we totally get it. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to either unmute yourself. We don't have a large audience today. We have about 21 people. You can either unmute and ask away, or you can post your question in the chat, and we'll make sure that we answer it. So,
yeah, can everybody just do me one favor? Can you go into the chat right now as I'm loading this up, and just put in, I'm new to AI. I've kind of played with it. I've loved AI. Let's just see where everybody's at. And I think that will help us guide the discussion a little bit better.
Courtney, exactly, Courtney, right? It's just unbelievable what it continues to do.
Okay, so with Khanmigo, if you're new to AI and you're like still learning how to prompt AI to get it to do something for you, I always ask our newbies to AI to try Khanmigo, only because you're going to see in a few minutes, it helps you create the prompt to get you what you want. But then once you master prompting, you'll find that the way it asks questions, it's seamless. You can go really, really fast with this. But Khanmigo for expert AI users, you'll pick up how to use this very quickly, and you'll be able to ask it to do more for you. It's a big toolbox. It's got a lot of stuff in it, but it really is very seamless to use. So let me just start with all tools. So that you can see that there's tons and tons of tools here. We're going to show you some examples of tools, but then as Pete explained, they group them by planning, creating. Why isn't this clicking when I click on it? Go back over here. Can you still see my screen? Can you still see my screen? Yes. Okay. So planning, you can see it shortens up the list, right? You'll notice that I have stars on it. The stars are the ones I like. They're the ones that I use the most. Then we have create, we have differentiate, we have support, and we have learn. So I'm going to take you through just a couple of ideas with planning. Let me just move this out of my way. Whoops. Yes, there we go. Okay. So in planning, first of all, let me just share my personal opinion with AI. First of all, I like it. Second of all, it allows us to do things once we learn the platforms very efficiently, and it really can save you some time. But you have to invest time first in order to learn a platform. And then once you learn that platform will help you accomplish things much quicker than you could do without the tool. And that's where the advantage to AI is, because now you can spend more time building relationships with students or differentiating instruction or, doing different kinds of lessons. So it does take time to learn, but once you learn it, and I would say, we're doing 6 sessions on 6 different things, but pick a tool you like and then stick with it, because there's always new stuff out. There's always new, but stick with it. So here, under planning tools, class, they have a lesson plan. Gotta go over here, lesson plan. And you can see what this does now. It's, what are you planning to teach? I want to teach my 3rd graders about the water cycle. I'm going to stay with Pete's favorite theme right now. Okay. So it gives me that. Then it tells me what format. Do I want a 5-part lesson plan, a 4-part lesson plan? Do I want it to be inquiry based? What is it that I want to do? So I'm going to do inquiry based. Level of detail. Give me an outline. That's good. See, I've typed 1 sentence. Start. Yes. What is it telling me? Provide your own content? No. I did that. It's giving me a hassle. It's not letting me open the start button, weirdly.
So Kath, I think you, because you put in, if you try just the water cycle, get rid of, I want to teach just put water cycle.
Oh, because I have to do the grade level later, right?
There you go. And then choose something there for that's a water cycle. Yep.
There we go. There you go. Blue start button. Knew I made a mistake someplace. It is kind of idiot proof. Okay. So now it's going to give you, see how quickly this does it? This gives me, whoops, why is it doing? Oh, it's still playing. Okay. I have to stop touching it while it's still writing. We're almost done, folks. And we're done. Okay, now I'm coming back up here. So it gives me the learning objectives. Now, any of this I can change it. You can see my cursor is in there. I can change any of this. So you don't have to take it as is. You can adjust it. You have full editing rights to what it has done. But you can see by the end of this lesson, I'll be able to create a model of the water cycle and explain how sun and gravity drive the processes for evaporation and precipitation. I may not want that, but for the sake of time, I'm going to say, well, that sounds great. Let's have the kids do that. If you're a district where you have to align your standards, it gives you the standards. Those are the standards that we use in Rhode Island. As long as when you create your account, use your teacher account. So you're going to use your local CPS or Pawtucket or whatever, Warwick, whatever district you're on. Use your school account to do this. It's perfectly fine. We're pretty tight with our privacy and security settings in Cranston. This is perfectly fine. And as long as you sign up with your school address, it's free. You can use this all day long for free. It now gives me some warm-up activities. It gives me things for direct instruction. It even includes a video. How nice is that? I don't have to search for that. Gives me some questions to ask as a whole group. Or I could do that have kids work in individual groups and do that. I think personally, I would have my kids working in small groups, and I would post these questions on the screen, have them discuss it. Then we would, debrief out. We've got inquiry activities here. There's an exit ticket, and it gives me additional resources. If I need to do something for advanced learners or, striving learners, it gives me some ideas of what to do there. Gives me the notable definitions, what kids might struggle with. So the words that might be a little bit more difficult. It even gives me extension activities. So there's an article already embedded. I don't have to search for it. And this one says it offers practice questions. So it's an exercise. So it's probably like a little game or something. It gives me the required materials and my lesson summary. Very, very concise. Now, when I do this, I'm just going to point out now that once I do this, everything you create in Khan Academy, Khanmigo saves for you. You don't have to think. See at the top here, it automatically has saved to my documents. So when I click on my documents, everything I've ever done is right here. I have purged because you can see there's a next, so there's lots. So I do purge. But here's the lesson plan I just did. Pete, did you want something?
Yeah, can you just share that tab, Kath? Because we're still on the lesson plan water cycle.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
What tab am I on? It should bounce with me.
If you're sharing a tab, you may have to click share this tab instead. There's a button there, maybe.
Let's see. Share. Share. Here you go. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. So now you're seeing the resources. Now the nice part about this is, so here is my latest and greatest that I just did, automatically saved. Once I click on that, I have a couple of options, which are really cool options. Just gonna move this out of the way. I can share this. So I can share it just like I stopped sharing to anybody else. I can send it to somebody else if I want to. I can print it, but here's the magic. I can export this. So I can export this as a Microsoft Word, a PDF document. I can save it to my Google Drive if I want to do it in Google Drive so that I can then maybe post it. Maybe it's not a lesson plan, but if I created something else that the students are going to use, I might want to put it in my Google Drive so that I can put it as an assignment in my Google Classroom. If you're using,
Kath, I'm sorry. We're just seeing the resources again. We're not seeing where you shared that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't mean to be a.
No, that's okay. No, that's good. So, but I don't know why that's all in. Oh, I see. Never mind. I'll come back. Come back to here. Sorry about that. Present something else. My lesson plan. Should be the right thing. Yeah, there we go.
Thanks.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So you can see, here's my lesson plan. And now I have my share button, my print button, my export button. When I click on export, I can share it all to these things. I can save it to my Google Drive. If I want to be able to put it in my Google Classroom as an assignment, that's where I would put it. Some folks are Microsoft users, so it's got Microsoft in there as well. So it goes to both platforms, doesn't make any difference. It'll go to PowerPoint. It'll literally will make a PowerPoint out of a slide deck, right out of this lesson plan. I don't do that very often because this lesson plan is really more for me, but if something that I created that's in here, that's more of a student material and I wanted it to go into PowerPoint, I can do that. And I can also save it to Google Slides. For instance, a Google district, I have saved stuff into Google Slides, so it's already done there. So then it exports it seamlessly for you. That's the power of this. You're doing one thing, but it gives you the option to do other things and it makes it fairly easy. Let me just come back to here. You can just share a different tab. Present something else. I want to come back to my slides. There we go. Okay. So that's an example of what you can do with that. I'm sorry, can you still see if I switch to, let's see. This bopping back and forth is a little crazy, sorry.
What? I got you.
But I can't manipulate that. Why can't I manipulate that? Oh, because I'm in my slide deck. That's fine. Okay. What is happening here? I am sorry, folks. You'd think I'd never done this before. Why am I losing my... Here it is. Keep losing my tab. And I did, you know, I even was concise and got rid of so much of my tabs so that I would be able to do this easily. Here's my slides. Share. There you go. Okay. Present. And you're still not doing it. I'm going back. Okay. I think, Pete, were you going to do differentiate? Maybe I'll stop sharing? Or did you want me to do that part?
No, I didn't know if you want to go over another tool, but I'll go through the create section. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Let me jump on then real quick. All right, perfect. Everybody should see my screen here. Let me just go back to the main screen where Kathy was here. Okay, so if we start here, as Kathy mentioned, if you notice, all the different tools here are in different colors. And as Kathy mentioned, some of hers were starred. So if you like some tools better than other tools, you can star them by quickly clicking on the star. And therefore, instead of going through all of them, and there's not, as I mentioned earlier, as many as Magic School, but if you find you're only using a couple, you can star them and click on My Favorites, and just the starred tools will show up. But as you can see on the All Tools page, there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 25. There's only 26 of them, so it's not awful. Kathy, by clicking on the Plan button, the purple tools, if you may, it showed all of the ones that you can use for planning. And as Kathy had showed you, she used the lesson plan one there. I'm going to go over just a couple of the create ones. The two that I like the most, and I'll show you a couple of them. I want to show you maybe 3 of them. Blookit generator. If anyone's familiar with Blookit, you can easily create a set in Khanmigo for Blookit, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. If you're not familiar with Blookit, Blookit is very similar to either Kahoot or Gimkit in the sense that you can just give questions and answers, and then the kids have an option, or actually you as the teacher, I should say, have the option of choosing one of, I think, 10 or 11 different games for the kids to play. So they're answering questions, maybe before a test, or to help them study for whatever the case may be, or even just to have fun. We've shared some different Blookit sets just around RICAST terms. So however you're using it, you can create a set very easily in Khanmigo. Once it's done, you share it with your students, and you as the teacher choose one of the, I want to say 11 games, maybe there's 12 now, and then the kids play it and answer questions, so on and so forth. But click on the Blookit generator tool. It's going to ask me to select a grade level. I'm going to choose 8th grade. I'm going to give it a topic. I don't know. I guess I'll stick with the water cycle. That sounds kind of boring, but I'll go with it. Water cycle. If there are any standards or learning objectives, you can either paste them there, or I'm just going to say learn about the parts of the water cycle. I can focus on a specific part if the instance or the example that they gave was focused on like single digit fractions. If you were looking for, like they talked about an example of equivalency here, I'm not going to put any additional notes. And then overall instructions for the Blookit question set. And I'm going to just copy what they gave it as an example there. And it said, phrase the questions, answers in Jeopardy format and talk like a pirate. So I'm going to just copy and paste that. I'm going to click start. And what Khanmigo is doing right now is it's just taking my information and it's creating questions for me. Water Cycle Jeopardy Pirate Edition. And the first question says, what be the process where water turns into vapor and rises into the sky? If I like that, I'm going to click thumbs up and it's going to be added to my Blooket set. Next one is condensation. I'm going to click yes. Precipitation, I'll say yes. Transpiration, yes. I've never talked about infiltration, so I'm going to say no on this one. Runoff, yes, we've talked about it. So now I have 5 quick questions that if I made a mistake and I didn't want it, I can easily click this trash icon and it deletes it. And then I click export to Blooket. And as soon as I click that, it's probably going to ask me to log in, I believe. And now it's created this set for me right here. Now I can either play the game solo, I can assign it for homework, I can host it, whatever the case may be. But it's done for you. I didn't have to type the questions and answers. All I had to do is either approve or deny the questions that were created by Khanmigo. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If you've ever used Blooket before, you know that there are other ways that you can easily create questions, but I feel that Khanmigo does probably the best in easily creating questions, especially if you need something done rather quickly. And if you're not familiar with Blooket, could be more elementary, middle school, but definitely check it out because even though there is a paid version of it, the free version allows you to not only play the games with the students, but also to get some feedback on how they do on the questions as well. So Blooket Generator is definitely one of my favorite in regards to sharing that tool with teachers to easily create sets for their students. I do share a newsletter with the teachers in our district. If you're not from Cranston, there is a link in the slides presentation that asks you if you want to sign up for it. It's completely free. I share a whole bunch of different resources, but in the most recent one, I did share that parent communication has never been easier. What I meant by that is if you click on it, it was a TikTok video, not my video, but a TikTok video that showed you how to use class newsletter, which is an easy way to keep your parents informed about what's going on. Very similar to Blooket. Once I click on it, it asks me a couple of questions. What's the name of my class? I'm just going to call it Mr. G. What did I do last week? I want to say prepped for RICAS. Learned about the water cycle. What are you doing next week? I don't know. We'll say pictures and field trip to Roger Williams Zoo. And then it once again asked me for any other guidelines. The examples were add a fall season. I'm going to say add a spring season theme and include a Spanish translation for parents. Okay, so once again, I just put in minimal work. I click start. And here's my newsletter. It's in both English. It looks like there's some Spanish here as well. It looks like the Hello Wonderful Families was just in English. And then it gave me what we did last week, what we're doing next week, things to remember. I didn't even say to pack a lunch. It did say that. And it gave it until the next time. And I think it was Valerie that had asked as well, when something's created in Khanmigo, can it be edited? And the answer was yes. So as Kathy had mentioned, you have a cursor here that allows me to to add information if I wanted to. as you see across the top, it gives you some basic editing privileges or permissions. But if you click on this purple bar next to each section, it allows you to open up these 3 icons. The top icon is a pencil, which you may not see on this, but it's a pencil, and if you click on it, it allows you to make changes to it. So for instance, it says give more detail. It even kind of gives you some suggestions, maybe. I don't know if I include a motivational quote. Let's see what happens. Hey, remember, the beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. Okay, you kind of get the idea, but they give you some suggestions on making changes to it. There's kind of these 2 arrows going in a circle that allows you to try something different. If you don't like it, it would regenerate perhaps what you had asked. And as you noticed, it now has changed the quote to "Education is the key to unlocking the world, a passport to freedom." It changed just this section where this purple bar is. And then you also have this option to discuss it with, I think it's called Khanmigo. Basically, it's this little guy right here. It's this little chatbot here. So if you click on this, discuss this, or even if you don't click on, I did it again. Sorry about that. Even if you don't click on this, discuss this, even though it's right here, you always have the option of clicking on this arrow on the top right here, and it opens up a chatbot where now you can go back and forth with Khanmigo and then ask it to either translate it or to add something or to rewrite it, whatever the case may be. So yes, Valerie, it is fully editable and allows you to either edit it on your own or to use the assistance of the chatbot there. It is multimodal, as you can see here. So if I can even turn on speech recognition, and you can ask it, or you can also turn on the Khanmigo's voice, so it speaks to you as well. So it gives you some options there. Once again, as you or when you are finished with it, you go to the export button. You'll see that unlike the lesson plan, you don't have as many options. Like for instance, you don't have the option to save this to a Google slide, for instance, exactly. But you can save it right to your Google Drive as a docx, which is a Microsoft product, but it easily opens in Google Docs as well. Or you can just PDF it and email it home, or however you share your information with your parents. So once again, a very easy tool. Don't have to spend a ton of time on it, and just kind of letting your parents know what's going on in your classrooms. And then the last tool that I want to show here with the create, in the create section, is this multiple choice quiz. Excuse me. Once again, it asks you, hey, what are you looking for? I'm just going to choose one of the examples here that they give you as an example. This says Newton's laws of motion. I'm going to say for a 10th grade class, let's do 4 options, A, B, C, or D, and let's do 5 questions. I'm going to click start. And it's going to quickly create that quiz for you. If you notice that when I put in Newton's laws, there were a couple of options that open up below that. That's kind of where the Khan Academy piece comes in, because if you go to, well, I'll get to that in 1 second. While I'm here, let me show you one thing, and then I'll show you the Khan Academy piece. When you create these questions, and if I go to export now, you'll see that now I have the option to make this multiple choice quiz a Google form very easily. Rather than creating a Google form, you put in a couple things, you create your multiple choice questions in Khanmigo. I click Save to Google Forms. It takes a second just to connect everything. I'm going to click View down here. And there's my Google form that was just made, already created as a quiz. So you don't even have to change the settings in the Google form to make it a quiz. It was out of 5 points. You can go in and obviously change how many points you want it to be worth, but you'll notice it also identified the correct answer for you as well. So you really don't have to do anything at that point, except make sure it's the right question and answer that you're looking for, or change the point value if you have to. And just to quickly go back to this part right here, when I put in Newton's laws, if you put in a topic that there are resources within Khan Academy, you're going to be able to use like a lot of these free resources in Khan Academy. When I put in Newton's laws, it kind of gave me a few options. That was pulled directly from the free tutorials right in Khan Academy. So Khan Academy is a little separate from Khanmigo. They do work together, but if you're not familiar with Khan Academy, take a look at that as well, because you'll see here that there are all these different tutorials that you can share with your students or assign to your students to help them learn a specific topic. And then you as the teacher can use the Khanmigo tools to create stuff to assess whether or not they're learning anything or to make it relevant. We're going to talk about the relevancy tool in just a second. So a lot of stuff here. Once again, anything that and I'm just going over what Kathy did, anything that you create, you'll find in my documents. You can always go back to, here's my newsletter. You can always go back to take it a step back and tweak anything if you have to, and then generate a newsletter. So everything is fully editable, fully customizable, but at the same time, there's a couple different ways, if you are satisfied with it, for you to export it and share it with parents, students, whatever the case may be. Kat, that is all you now.
Yep. Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, Kat. Any questions on the Create or the Plan tool? And once again, we're going to give you time to mess around with those tools and answer any questions while you're doing it. But does anyone have any questions at this point? Perfect. All right. Thanks, Kat.
Why isn't it sharing? Come on now. Did you share your entire screen or just your tabs?
I did my entire screen. It just made it easier because you don't have to click that button that says share this tab instead.
No. But now it's telling me ignore this.
We see a screen now. We see a screen.
It looks to me like an infinity screen. Doesn't it look like an infinity screen to you?
Yeah, jump on the slides tab though. At the very top. Yep. There you go.
There we go. Alrighty. Thank you. Okay, let me just move this over here. So I want to show you about differentiate. So, and then, by the way, I know we're talking at you a lot. We're going to show you differentiate, and then we're going to stop for a few minutes and let you play with some of these tools yourself. And then we'll be quiet so you can do that. If you're not already doing that, I did put a link to the Khanmigo in the chat room that you should be able to take. But I'm just going to get on my high horse for a second about AI. The best thing about AI for teachers is that it allows us to be able to differentiate for all of the unique learners we have in our classroom. Our high kids, our average kids, our low kids, our multi-language kids, our kids that need to stand up and work, our kids who like to do project-based learning, our kids who like to talk to each other. Whatever you want to do for differentiation to support your learners, AI is great at that, and you kind of just have to learn how to manipulate it to do that for you. But Khanmigo has put it all in a couple of different tools that I think are really powerful. So I came out of the elementary schools, and I was a first grade teacher for a really long time. So you can see what I've got started here. I like Leveler a lot. So with Leveler, whoops, why isn't it letting me? No, that didn't work there.
There you go. Yep, click on that tab. Nope.
This one up here. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. If I click leveler, I can put in a text title. I can take an original text. What I tend to do is go into the digital curriculum. So most of us now have digital curriculums. Go into your digital curriculum. Don't necessarily take an entire story, but take a passage out of a story, copy and paste it, and put it in the original text here. Give it the title, the same title of the story from your text. Paste the text here, and then you select the reading level. So you can see here, I can go all the way down to 2nd grade. I can also go all the way up to 12th grade. So you do your, now for my 1st graders, this didn't work because it doesn't go down low enough. But again, you select your reading level. So for the kids that are at a higher reading level, if they're in 3rd grade, but they're reading at a 5th grade level, you can actually challenge them, give it to them, right? And then it will level the text for you. So it'll take your text, whatever it is that you're doing, and it'll put it at a different readability level for the students. That's just extraordinarily powerful for kids, because here's the deal. They're now all going to read the same text, the same basic information, but at a level of readability that is unique to them. So you can do your middle, low, and high students. They're all you're pulling from the same text, so it's going to be the basic information. Now they can talk to each other because they've read the same information, but they've read it at their own level. So the leveler is just really powerful. And back to differentiate. The other one that I like here is the make it relevant. You know, how many times has a kid said to you, why do we have to learn this? Well, make it relevant will prep you for that. It'll give you the answer. So you just type in like what your goal of the day is. So I'm going to say calculating the perimeter of a rectangle. Class profile. I have 4th graders. Start. Okay. So now with this real world, with this make it relevant, it says you're going to use, you could give some learning objectives. You use everyday objects to help them understand the concept of it. You can guide the students through a hands-on activity where they measure the sides of the classroom. You can do an art project. You can do a perimeter hunt. So it gives you some fun ways of kids learning it. So it's all that kind of different stuff. It's just it just gives you different ways of looking at it. So the kids will say, oh, okay, whatever, I got it. I'm using it for this. And then when if you're measuring the perimeter of your classroom because it's a rectangle, what might this be used for? Well, maybe I want a rug and I need to know the size of the rug. Exactly. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea of how to make it relevant to your kids. So I just think that that's a very powerful tool as well.
Kat, can I just quickly add something to that?
Yes.
One of the nice parts about making it relevant there is if your kids really like something, whether it's soccer, whether it's Fortnite, whether it's music, whether it's art, it'll make it relevant around what they like. So like for Kathy's example of a perimeter, if she said that they were all soccer fans, it would give Kathy all examples of perimeter that have to do with soccer or Fortnite or football or music or art, whatever the case is. So you give it a little contextual information, it'll make it even more relevant for them and help them better understand it, perhaps if it's tied into something they like.
Right. You can see that in this differentiate category, I have everything starred because I like it so much. The chunking text will take a bigger piece of text and put it into smaller chunks for kids so that they don't have to read the whole thing all at the same time. It helps you it helps you with taking that big piece of text, chunking it so the kids can understand it piece by piece. So that helps there. The real world connector, it'll connect your lessons to real world examples. So it'll tell you, like if I did if I go to real world connector and say, give me some examples where my kids would have to use perimeter, it'll say, well, if they want to buy a rug or they want to, pave the parking lot, but it'll give real world examples. Text rewriter, I don't want to go through all these because I want you to play with some of them, but text rewriter will take a piece of text that you have, you import it, you copy and paste it into it, and then you tell it what you want it to do. I need you to make this text a little bit easier for my students to read at maybe that are reading 2 grade levels below, and it'll do that. Or you can say, some of the language, some of the adjectives in this passage are too high level. Can you just take some of those multi-syllabic adjectives out and replace them with something that is meaningful? It will do that. It's amazing. So I'm not going to go into, I want you to really play with differentiate, because I want you to, it's going to be much more powerful when we give you a few minutes. Think of a student you currently have and try and generate something. So I think when we come back here to our PowerPoint, yeah, did you want to do support and learn, or you want to do some playtime? It's now 7:20, Pete.
I can do it real quick if you want, and then we'll just give them plenty of time. There's so many tools, and by all means, don't pick the ones that Kathy and I went over unless you think you found them useful. There are so many other fun ones, like the class poetry one. The question generator allows you to just paste text and it generates questions for you. So if you have something in your curriculum, let me quickly just go over those last 2, because there's only 2 tools in each of those sections. And I just want to quickly highlight them, and then we'll give you time to try all the different tools. And Kathy and I will be available to answer any questions. So let me just go back to sharing my screen. Perfect. So the last 2 sections are support and learn. There are only 2 tools, as I just mentioned, for support. One is an IEP assistant. You know, it's pretty good in the sense that if you give it some information about a student that is or has an IEP, it will give you a lot of information for that student. I know in Cranston, we can't use this specifically because there's a certain parameter or a certain format that we have to do in regards to types of rubrics. But it definitely would help you if you put in some context here on what the student struggles with, the disability category, what they are strong in. It gives you some information about the student, which as a former special educator would probably be good for like their present level of performance or any areas of need. But it does also help you. And I did an example earlier today just to show you what it looks like if I go to my documents and I go to, let's just move this out of the way here. Somebody might have just asked the question. So I'll get to that in just a second. I just put in that the student is in a 6th grade classroom. It kind of give a general profile. I think I said that there was just a learning disability. It did provide you, if you are brand new to special education, based on the learning disability, it did give some suggestions for accommodations, which I thought was pretty neat. It also identifies some goals that, you know, the student should work on. And what I thought was, kind of impressive as well was the fact that it was measurable. Some of the goals were, you know, hey, you have to aiming for a 20% improvement in reading. Once again, this isn't meant to take the place of how you write goals, or IEPs for the students if you are servicing students, but it definitely gives you a lot of information that may help you write them. Just follow the parameters of how your district, if you are a special educator, how you're expected to write IEP goals. But it does give some good information. Like I said, if I was writing an IEP here, I would definitely use this for more of the narrative stuff, the present level of performance or the academic and functioning needs and so on and so forth. So still pretty good. Definitely, you get a lot of information, really not putting in a ton of information. It's a couple words about the learning disability, their strengths, their needs, and then you get all of this information here. So SMART goal, I know in Cranston, let's get back here. If you are being evaluated, you could use this to write your SMART goal. Kind of helps you and breaks down some steps. Once again, I gave a quick example. It just asks for a couple of questions here. can use it for your student if you wish to use it as a SMART goal writer. I gave it as an example for a teacher trying to improve parent-teacher communication. And it kind of broke down the parts of the SMART goal and what I would put for improving or with the goal of improving parent-teacher communication. So you just fill in a couple of questions here. It does that for you as well. The learn, if you're asked to, let's say, cover a class that you really don't know too much about, you can click on refresh my knowledge. And let's say you were asked to cover a math class and they're doing, one-step equations. I'm going to put in one-step equation, and basically they're going to give me the basics. Let's say grade 8. It's going to give me kind of a refresher on solving one-step equations. Kathy, you going to say something?
I was just going to say, if you are in a middle school or high school and you get called on your duty time to go cover a class, this at least gives you like in seconds, like, okay, I have to teach social studies and they're doing this war. I don't know anything about that war. Tell me something a little bit about it. Give me some information so I look like I'm smart. This really does do that for you. It's also a great tool for our substitutes. So if you've got somebody that's in as a long-term substitute in your building and you're even there for like a week and the person is, not really adept at, ninth grade math, this is the best thing for them. It just gives them a little bit of a heads up. It gets them started.
Yep. And then the last tool is just giving you the opportunity to chat with ChatGPT specifically. There are a couple different models with ChatGPT. I believe the one that you get to use is for Omni. It's more like a reasoning tool, but it allows you to see what ChatGPT can do for you without having to log in, which you can actually do that on ChatGPT without logging in. But it allows you that option to speak directly to or to have a conversation directly with ChatGPT right in Khanmigo. So those last two groupings there, support and learn, kind of smaller tools. Obviously the big ones are plan, create, differentiate. As Kathy mentioned, we want to give you time to try any of the tools there. Excuse me. So we do also want to go over Writing Coach, which I think is a pretty neat tool. So I don't know, Kathy, you want to give them 15 minutes or so until?
Yeah. So I think we just want to give you we're going to monitor the chat room and keep your mics off or on or whatever. And you can ask a question if you want, but we want to give you about 15 minutes to actually play with something, or maybe, well, you tell us. If you're done in 10, we'll move on in 10 and get us out of here a little bit earlier. So if everybody's giving me, okay, let's go, we can move on. But we do want to give you a couple of minutes to kind of open up Khanmigo. I put the link in the chat room. So if you don't have it already opened, it's in the chat room. Open it up. You sign on with your school account and set up your account and go in. You just have to sign up once, and then the next time you come in, it is always going to say, do you want to sign up? And you click teachers, and it's like, oh yeah, welcome back. You've already done that. And just play with something. Find one or two tools that you think are intriguing. Think about your kids, your class, your content area, and just try a couple things. And then we'll ask a few of you to share what you did. So we're going to be quiet, but we'll monitor the chat room, and we're here to answer questions if you get stuck.
I got 7:35. Anyone have any questions? Anybody want to share anything fun? Anyone? We need a few more minutes, or
we have one more tool to share that is kind of fun that we want you to see and be able to play with too.
Yeah, that's
part of Khanmigo. But does anybody have any great successes, questions?
I'll share something. It's Ashley. Hi, friend.
Hi, Ashley.
Okay. I have 11th grade inclusion. My co-teacher, Miss Makiro, is on here. And we have to do Walden for the second unit of Study Sync. And I know that it's a short text, generally like what they have us doing, but sometimes it just goes really far over the kids' heads. So I was thinking of, I put it into the leveler. I kind of chose like an in-between, like a 9th grade reading level, and kind of thinking about doing a dual table of like almost like a No Fear Shakespeare. So having like original text on one side and then the leveled text on the other, just to kind of help them so they're not replacing the original text, but they're able to kind of get that familiarity of just like leveled language. So
Cool.
It's kind of my idea.
Yeah. It's hard to tell, but from the screens that we're looking at, it seems like a couple of you are in the same place and you're talking to each other, which is really kind of awesome. I hope you're including like wine as you're doing all of this, because that's where I'm going next. But yeah, this is it's just the limitations here are only the amount that you can create and your creativity with this. It really is an amazing tool. If you use no other tool than Khanmigo, you'll be able to do an incredible amount with students. But any AI tool, if you've been playing with AI tools, there's a learning curve. You've got to learn it. Khanmigo, I have found, is easy to learn because it gives you those prompts. It asks you questions, so you just kind of fill in the blanks, and then it creates what you want. So the learning time on Khanmigo is less than trying to figure out exactly what I want to do within Brisk or even Chat. So sometimes I'll ask Chat to do something, and I'm going to have a long conversation with it because I can't get it. Alyssa, you got a question?
Hi.
Hey there. How are you?
Sorry. I was playing a little bit with the leveled reader, and I went into our Wonders text because I'm thinking, I teach 3rd grade, as some of you know. I can't highlight. So is there a way around that? Like if I screenshot the text?
Not sure. That's a good question. I'm not sure if it'll do it from an image.
All right.
So what is it, Alyssa? I'm sorry. In Wonders, it's
I went into one of the texts that we're going to be working on next week in our Wonders curriculum. Yeah. And I wanted to just take a passage from it and see if I could put it into the leveler to either level it up, level it down. Yeah. But I couldn't highlight right from Wonders.
Because
so I don't know if a
copyrighted text, they probably don't want you to do that, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking. Like, so I thought that might be helpful, like one of the helpful things.
So a workaround for you, Alyssa, is Google Keep. I know Google Keep isn't a tool that we often talk about, but if you take a picture of that text, there's a tool in Google Keep that allows you to take the words off the picture, and I think it puts it right on a Google Doc for you, and then you can just copy those words and paste it into Khanmigo. I don't know if I'm circumventing any copyright law, but it isn't like you're monetizing it or anything. But there's you can take a picture of it, upload it into Google Keep, extract the words, and then copy it and try that. And then that will definitely work because I've done that in the past.
All right, I'll play around with that. So take a screenshot, put it in Keep, and then extract the words, and then try to input them.
And then paste the words into Khanmigo. Yep.
Oh, we lost voice.
I'd have to try that with like Chat or Copilot too. One of those might be able to do the same thing, don't you think, Pete?
What was that other one? Brisk? Was that a?
Yeah, Brisk is another one. It's similar.
I'm taking that class at another time.
Yeah, we're doing that later. Yeah, I don't want to give you too much stuff on Brisk because we're doing that session in a couple weeks.
I knew that kind of did that. I haven't played with that much, but okay,
that's a fun one too.
Alyssa, let me know how it goes because there are other ways to do it too, but I think that might be the easiest.
Okay.
All right. Hey, question?
Yeah, I was just going to say for Alyssa, you said that like you can talk to it. So what about just reading the text into it?
Yeah, that may work. That may work too.
Good job, Hank.
That might be easier.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hank. I'll give that a try.
That actually might be a whole lot easier if it's a short passage. You're right. Good job, Hank. You earned your keep tonight.
All right, great. Any other questions? Any other shares? For those of you that aren't in Cranston and don't have Kathy in my email, it is on the slides presentation. If you ever leave here and you encounter any questions or any concerns or any issues, whatever the case may be, feel free to email either one of us. Kathy and I often help out other teachers in other districts as well, so please keep that in mind. Okay, the last thing I want to do, I got 7:42. I honestly probably could spend an hour, well, not an hour, but a half hour on this. I'm going to give you the super abbreviated version of Writing Coach within Khanmigo. It's a completely separate tool. I know I've shared it with some of the instructional coaches. So for either Ashley, who's with us, or Hank, I know they are both ELA English teachers. Have either one of you tried Writing Coach yet, just to get your feedback?
I haven't used it yet, but it's in the works.
Same here, but I wouldn't even say it's in the works just because of the study sync and what I have to do with that. But
true,
what you've showed me today with just the Khanmigo stuff, I could definitely use with my study sync material.
Mm-hmm.
Hank, go rogue just once. Go rogue.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't familiar, Cranston is their English curriculum is study sync. A lot of it, well, not a lot of it, all of it's kind of online, scripted. So there's not a lot of flexibility for the English ELA students, teachers, to do different things with their students. But I guess you don't have to be an English teacher to learn about Writing Coach. So let me try to give you the abbreviated version in record time, and I will be glad to answer any questions. Let's share my screen. Let's go back to where do I want to go? Just give me 1 second here. I just want to show you where it is so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me just hide this and move.
Yeah, it's not a tool like all the tools we just showed you. Writing Coach is not a tool.
Yep, exactly. Thanks, Kat. So when you go to Khanmigo, when you are on this page where you see all of the tools, you'll see the Khanmigo up here with a little drop down. When you click on that, it takes you to either some learner activities, teacher tools, my documents. It's just a shortcut to what we've already kind of gone through. But at the very bottom, you're going to see Writing Coach here. And Writing Coach is going to open up a completely different window. And probably the best thing for you, since I'm really not going to do it justice, is when you are on this page, if you click on About Writing Coach at the very bottom on the left, it gives you kind of I believe it's an 6-minute video that kind of takes you through what I'm about to go through as well. And it also has some frequently asked questions for you here as well. But when you are on here, the first thing you'll see at the top left are assignments, so your assignments. I've created one a while ago just to kind of show you, well, not a while ago, a few days ago, just to kind of show you kind of what it looks like, because I want to show you what it looks like from a teacher perspective and also from a student perspective. So when you're ready to try it, if you click on Create Assignment, it's going to ask you some questions about the assignment here. A title, a grade level. You'll notice that it's mostly for middle to high school students. Not that it's necessarily not for elementary students, but I think there would be a lot more explaining of it if you did it with elementary students. I know they're beta testing 5th and 6th grade right now, but for the most part, I believe the tool is predominantly for middle to high school. You do have an essay type. You've got a couple of different ones. This has been brand new that was just added. Practice with an SAT essay or an AP Lit essay. Prior to today, you only had either an argumentative and explanatory or a literary analysis essay. You choose a minimum word count and you give instructions. as well as a start date and an end date, so on and so forth. I'll get to the classes in just a second.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 second,
Yeah,
Pete?
of course. Yeah.
The reason why it's got that new SAT tab at the top is because Khan Academy, Khanmigo, has partnered with the Rhode Island Department of Ed. And so I know Cranston has signed on with the Department of Ed for a free account for our, I think it's our 10th and 11th graders for SAT prep. And it's not a coincidence that that SAT tab has come up now, because the pilot for the Rhode Island school districts that have signed on to use this for SAT practice, that's one of the things that they were designing. And so that's a new tab, but you need to know that we're the only state that Khan has partnered with for using this platform with our kids specifically for SAT prep. So if you're in a district, ask them. If you don't know, ask and see. You're probably in a district where your 11th and 12th graders have got free accounts that they can use this stuff.
Yeah, thanks for adding that, Kath, because that is huge. Okay, so I created the assignment. I shared it via a link to the students in a Google Classroom. Like I said, I'll talk about that in just a second. The students get a link, and then they start working on my instructions. So this was one that I created. Should there still be daylight savings time? It tells me what classroom I posted it to, the due date, how many have completed it, and then we'll get to like the review part in just a second. I didn't mean to click on that review button, sorry. Let me go back to this page here, because it tells you a whole bunch of insights as the teacher. So I created the assignment. I shared the link with the student. Now, from the student perspective, and this is all going to be the student perspective, they get a link and it looks like this. It says, let's write an essay together. The first step is understanding the assignment. Here were my instructions. Here's how I created that assignment. The first part is this understanding, making sure me as the student understands the assignment. And if you notice, I had kind of used Khanmigo, the chatbot here, to ask questions. And the first thing it says is, hey, I'm here to help you through the process of writing your essay. Do you have any questions about the prompt and instructions before we get started? I just said, what are the requirements? And it kind of went through the requirements and told me. Then I said, explain the essay type. So if you have a student that's struggling what an argumentative essay is, what a literary analysis is, you can ask all sorts of questions. When you are done as a student understanding what the assignment is, you click on outline. And the outline, for those who have asked students to write stuff, is basically a breakdown of what's your thesis, what's the point, give me an example, a source, and explain why you chose that point. So I put in some stuff here. I will say that everything that I put in here, I copied and pasted, and I'll tell you why in just a second. If it's not necessary, you can, as the student, delete a section. So if you didn't ask the student for a source, you can delete that section as the student if it wasn't asked. But it's here for you, and if you need additional, as the student, additional evidence boxes or reasoning boxes, you just click that plus. I, once again, as a student, I said, hey, I'm stuck. Khanmigo says, hey, let's focus on your thoughts and ideas. What are some reasons you feel strongly about it? And then I'm like, well, can I just write my conclusion? And Khanmigo says, well, before writing your conclusion, ensure that your outline is complete. You have a strong thesis, blah, 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 blah. It's constantly reinforcing kind of what I've done so far. I asked how the outline was. It said it's well structured. I said, do you have any suggestions to improve? And it just kind of told me some basic stuff like it's well structured, ensure that your evidence is properly cited, make sure each paragraph is balanced in detail and length. So kind of some generic feedback. Mm-hmm. When I'm done with the outlining part, I'll click drafting. And now it takes what I wrote in the outline and allows me to copy it and paste it into this kind of first draft here. And as you can see at the bottom, I have the, if need be, I can talk to Khanmigo and ask it, some additional questions. That chat dialog box is always open. If I need to go back and look at the assignment, there's an assignment button that would say, oh yeah, remember it's due on March 30th, whatever the case is. So it allows me to take everything that I've done in the outline and allows me to copy and paste it into this kind of rough draft here. When I'm done, my final step is this revising, and then asking it to revise what I've written so far. And once again, I haven't written anything. I've copied and pasted everything. It kind of goes through the different parts and tells me kind of, hey, good job, or maybe think about this. So my introduction, I'm sorry if the screen is so small, but it says your introduction effectively presents a clear and engaging thesis, and it says excellent. If I want to chat with Khanmigo for whatever reason, I'll click this chat button here. Evidence and reasoning was excellent, but for conclusion, there's a 1 next to conclusion. And it kind of tells me like what it's missing. So in this instance, it says the essay lacks a distinct conclusion paragraph. Excuse me, the last paragraph represents an opposing viewpoint and does not effectively summarize the main arguments or reinforce the thesis. To improve, consider this. And the same thing with style and tone. It kind of gave me some suggestions about varying the sentence, the structure of the sentences. It says in paragraph 2, this sentence is quite long and complex. Can you think of a way to break it into shorter sentences for better clarity? So it gives you some ideas, and as you notice, it kind of highlights it here as well when I click on its suggestion. It doesn't write it for the student. It just kind of points them in the direction of how they can possibly improve it. And then when I'm done, I'll mark it as complete. I haven't done that yet. Now, from the teacher's perspective, and I promise I'm almost done here. From a teacher's perspective, I get to click on the class here and the review who's done what. Now, in this fake classroom, there's only one fake student, and that's Test Student Tech. It's a fake student account. It tells me a bunch of things. It tells me, A, that it's past due. It shows me kind of where the student is at this point, when the student last worked on it, how long the student had spent going through those 4 parts of the writing process, and whether or not it looked at some of the writing feedback and marked it as resolved. But the biggest piece here is it's this originality piece. So if I click on that originality piece, go back one time real quick. If I just put my cursor over it, it basically says, hey, Test Student Tech pasted 31 words into the thesis claim, pasted 14 words into main point, pasted 19 words, pasted 81 words into one of the sections here. So it's able to pick up what wasn't actually typed there. Does it mean that the student used AI to write it? I guess that's debatable, but if anything, it allows you as the teacher to have a conversation with the students about like, hey, you picked up the fact that you pasted 81 words into the section. What was this? So when I click on critical, it kind of goes back and shows me exactly what I typed and what was pasted there, and goes through everything. And in fact, it even goes through, for Test Student Tech, it goes through the entire history for me as the teacher, and even shows me like what the student asked as well. So in the understanding section, I click on the understanding. The student started on March 23rd at 6:53 p.m. and I'm able to see everything that was asked of the student of Khanmigo. So it gives you a lot to work with as the teacher, possibly freeing up the time of going through that writing process. I know not all ELA teachers or other teachers have the time to go through that process, from sources to outlining to rough draft to final draft, so on and so forth. Think of this as possibly a tool that you can use to help your students through that. I did mention I would get back to the classes and how it is assigned. when I do create an assignment here, let me go back to my essays. That's not where I want. When I go to write it, when I create the new essay and I get to, I want to go back to my prompting of, there we go. How I share the link with the students, it does, Cranston allows teachers to use Khan Academy and to allow Google Classroom and Khan Academy to communicate. So as a result, in Khan Academy, you have the ability under classes to import your Google Classroom. So if you click on add new class, it'll say connect your Google Classroom. That is how I got my fake student account, and that's how you could assign the instructions or that the link for the essay to your students and look at all of their names in that review, on that review page there. It's the only way you could really do it. You could enter your own class name and share a link there. I think with many of us using Google Classroom right now, that might be the easiest. You would simply connect your Google Classroom here. It'll connect your account. And then you select the class. Once it's done loading here, you select the class that you want to import into Khan Academy. And then that's probably the easiest way to get that link out to your students. You can also just copy the link and paste it to your students on what LMS you use. I know many people do use Google Classroom, so that probably would be the easiest. I'm still waiting for a couple English teachers or someone to give me some feedback who probably know a lot more about this than I do. I understand everyone's busy and stuff like that. If you happen to try it and you think it's good, let me know. If you think it's bad, let me know. I think it's pretty neat from how I've used it in just certain examples, but once again, I think the classroom teachers would obviously know best. So completely free. I know Khan Academy is always looking to provide resources especially for students, but for teachers too. So, keep an eye out for additional things. Sign up for my newsletter if you're not a Cranston teacher. It is in the slides presentation towards the end. It's an easy way for Kathy and I to kind of keep everybody updated on all the new and greatest things that are being shared in the AI world. So completely free. You can take a look at it, like I said, somewhere near the end of the slides presentation. That's all I have. 7:59. Kathy, anything else?
Nope, just if you're a Cranston educator and you need PLUs, Pete also posts his newsletter right in the PACE Center. And if you view them in PACE and you answer a couple of questions, then it generates a PLU certificate for you. So not only do you get to look at his newsletter, which once you've looked at one, you'll be addicted and want to look at more of them, but you can also earn a PLU for it. So thank you so much. It's 8 o'clock. We won't keep you. I really, really appreciate that 21 people signed on, and we still currently have 21 people online with us. So thanks for sticking it out. Reach out, email us. You have our email. Let us know if there's anything else that we can help you with. But it's a really cool tool. It does take some time. We'll be honest, take some time to learn it and to see what it does, but pick one or two of the things to do and get good at those and then try something else. It's a lot of fun. Enjoy. Hope we see you again.